The SG Child Show is back for its 13th season. Join Sarah Bradford and the SG Child Show team as they explore the world of autism and share stories of hope and inspiration. This season, we're excited to bring you more autism summits featuring experts and advocates from around the world. Go to sjchilds.org to donate and to get more information. Congratulations on 2024's 20,000 downloads and 300 episodes. Hi, and welcome to the SJ Child Show today. Sounds like
300 episodes you did just in the last season. Wow, that's awesome. That's almost every day you were doing
that was over all time, the 300. We just passed.
It came across.
Yeah, I guess I should have made that a little more clear. But hey, this is why, we're doing this, so I can learn what to fix. I love it. It's great to have you here, Janet, and I'm excited to talk about your book and learn more about your journey. And before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself.
About myself? Okay. I'm a mother and a grandmother of 8, and I grew up was born in the 50s and grew up in the 60s and 70s in Scarborough, Ontario. I now split my time between Florida. I have a place in Bonita Springs, and then I spend the summer months back here in Ontario. So,
amazing!
And I'm retired. I've been retired about 8 years now. So
I love that. Let me testing my audio here. I keep getting a strange feedback, so sorry about that. Okay,
everything sounds good at this end.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Well, it's first off, thank you so much for being here and taking the time today to come and talk to me and my listeners and tell us a little bit about the journey that started for you with your book and, why did you decide to go down that route? And, were you always a writer? Did you have a writer spirit?
I have sort of played around a little bit, but this is my first published book. No, what happened a few years ago, we were cleaning out my parents' house, and getting it ready to sell. And I ended up with a lot of the paperwork, that I got in my dad's office. And I swear he kept every piece of paper on earth. But anyway, and I also had all of my brother's drawings. I went through them. I thought, wow, these are really neat. Like I knew about most of them, but oh my gosh, they're falling apart because they're so old. I thought I've got to get these put into a book for the family, which was all I originally intended. Then I came across a box amongst all these other things of all his school reports and all his doctor reports and psychiatrist reports. And I mean, this was a banker's box full. And I went, oh my gosh. And I started going through it and looking to see what it was all about. And I was stunned. I mean, these were the reports from the social workers and that. So telling what went on while he was in residence in some of these places. And I thought, oh my gosh, there's a heck of a story here that people need to hear, that people need to know what happened many years ago, back in the 60s, when there was no special education, there was no diagnosis of autism. Any child that behaved, what we now call neurodivergent, any of those children that was just that displayed any kind of behavior that didn't fit what they thought the norm should be, these kids were all pretty much labeled retarded. mentally retarded. And most of the time, it was recommended that they go into institutional life, that they'd be better off with their own kind. Well, no, they weren't.
Yeah.
But that's what happened. And most of the parents didn't know. They had to go along with what these doctors were telling them. And so they did, and these children were all lumped together. I mean, autistic children were with Down syndrome children, and they were just all together, and they just got care, not any kind of education, and any kind of socialization, none of that. So, um,
Yeah.
and like at the time my brother was growing up, there were 20 institutions in Ontario, and the similar situation throughout all the United States too. And that's where most of these kids landed. And it wasn't till the 80s before they started realizing that there were differences, and they started working on the autism diagnosis. It was real basic back then. It wasn't again till they got further into the late 80s and the 90s that they really got a true definition or criteria to assess a child. But we've come a long way. There's still lots to do, but it's a lot better situation now for the children now.
Oh,
I have uh, twin grandchildren who are both on the spectrum, and two totally different situations. They couldn't be more different if they tried, but what's wonderful now is their IEP, their program continues from the time that they've been little, 4 years old, but it still goes on in high school here, which I discovered and thought this is wonderful because they're also allowed to stay in high school for 5 years, knowing that most of them are going to need that extra time to get things worked out. And they teach them a lot of social skills, a lot of, if they're a good candidate for it, independent skills, how to live, or function by themselves if they can. Some can, some can't.
wow.
So yeah.
Oh,
So the book took me a couple of years to write. So, and it's
and
got a lot of my brother's pictures in it. I used quite a few of them, um, because that's how one of his ways of communicating with his drawings.
wow.
So,
And you knew he was autistic growing up?
well, no, we didn't have a label for it, but I realized when I was reading through the notes, and we certainly realized that once he got old enough that we realized that that's what it was, that's what where he fell into. Now he was also hearing impaired, and there was some emotional disturbances as well. However, the main way he functioned, he was a picture thinker. He worked with his drawings, and he worked by, that's the way he learned most things, was visually. um, but yeah, a lot of his behaviors, he would do stimming. He would wave his arms and make odd noises.
Mhm.
That's how he always was. So
Yeah.
we were used to it, and that was didn't really realize that there were quite a few other children that had displayed the same behaviors and had the same issues.
Yeah.
So no,
It
not when he was young, we didn't know. My parents didn't know that, what the name was eventually gonna be. They just knew
wow.
that he needed extra help and specialized help. So,
Oh, and that's great that they, were able to give that to him. And how was that for you as a sibling? Just to I'm an only child, but I have a son and daughter that are just as this complete opposite ends of the spectrum from one another. And so she will be, his keeper, if you will, of his heart and whatever for but
that
yeah,
was exactly how it that's how it worked out, at least, and I think it does in most families. I'm the oldest of 5 of us. Michael's 7 years younger than me. Um, so, I had to not look after him, but, old enough that I looked out for him because he was that much younger than me.
Yeah.
But we accepted, the fact that, like, initially, all we thought that, "Okay, he can't hear, he's deaf." So he wore a hearing aid, and he went to deaf school, because that was available.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there was no special education within, or they weren't able to handle kids like that, that had other problems along with the hearing impairment. Um, but as kids, as siblings, we just accepted his behaviors. That he had all these odd things that he'd do, and
It
and
was just
everything
Michael.
had to be, and
Yeah.
he had routines that had to
Mm.
had to be this way, or sorry, not functioning. You know, um, and so we went okay, and we went along with it. Everybody did what was needed, and we didn't mind that sometimes Michael would have to have extra attention from mom and dad because he needed it. No,
That's great.
so I don't. None of us were. I don't think nobody was jealous of
Yeah.
the attention that he got. No, not at all.
I
And
love
and usually my parents made sure that he participated, like at birthday parties. He was always there, like sort of thing, and doing his own thing.
Yeah. We have one of those too, doing their own thing.
Oh
Love
yeah.
it. I love it, I love it. Oh, and what, when you put the book together, who did you first share it with, and what were their thoughts about that?
Well, probably my sisters because they're in it. I had to make sure that they were okay. Well, they were okay with what I was
Yeah.
writing. Um, probably that it was a real family thing, on that personal level. Then I found this wonderful, because I had no idea what it was doing as far as editing and all that sort of thing. um, and I found this really cool company that they help self publishers of nonfiction. So a memoir falls into that category, and they provide all of the different services that you might need, all sort of under one roof. So I thought, well, that works great for me because I don't know what I need. So it's like when I had finished the draft and I thought, okay, it's done. And when handed it off to them, and they went, no, there's lots we can do to fix this. I went, oh, okay, it needs fixed. And they did. They took it from being a good book to a really, really good book.
Oh, I love that.
So yeah, I know, and they're a wonderful company. They're called Book Launchers,
Okay.
and they are an American company. Although it's interesting, the lady who runs it, she's Canadian. So I thought, okay, we got a connection
What a
here.
connection.
Um,
Absolutely.
yep.
Wow. And what about Michael? Is he's still around? Has he seen?
No, no,
Okay.
he
I
passed
thought that
away
he
in 21.
Okay.
Right.
And did the book come after that then, or?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's
Oh,
why we were clearing the house out to sell.
of course.
My
That makes
my
sense.
father had in his will, my mother had passed away in 2005, dad died in 2009, and in his will, he wanted us to, have possession of the house with the stipulation that we had to have Michael stay living there, that we couldn't sell it, that we had to look after him.
Yeah,
So that's what we did. Two of my sisters moved into the house and were physically there looking after him. And I wasn't far away, about 30 minutes away from where he lives. So,
that's great. That's
yeah.
great.
So
Oh,
that's what we did. Yeah.
that's amazing. And what did your sisters think of the book?
Interesting reactions. The one thinks it's fantastic, and she actually helped me. We went to the Geneva Autism Symposium last November
Oh,
with the book, and she actually came with me and helped me promote it. Um, and the the other sister, who's my sensitive sister, she was one of the ones who actually lived with him and did most of the teaching him a lot of things that he needed to learn to be there by himself.
Yeah.
Um, I think she found it hard to read. It just brought back so many memories for her. She actually found it a little distressing, I think, but
Oh,
she's totally in support of it, and the youngest sister too. So
oh, I love that. I love that.
yeah.
When you went to the Geneva conference, was Rachel Barcelona there? Did you meet her or see her by any chance?
There
Does
was
that ring a
quite a
bell?
few. There was quite a few really well-known speakers. Temple Grandin was there. I did get to
Oh,
meet her,
great.
and she got a copy of the book. So,
I love
and
Temple.
the girl from the Love on the Spectrum show. Um,
Danny.
it,
Or yeah, there's so many, right?
David was her boyfriend. He was
Oh
there.
yeah.
Abby,
Abby.
Abby
Abby.
Ryan, yeah,
She's
yeah.
so sweet, isn't she? I
And
haven't had a chance to
so
talk to her,
she's
meet her.
so she's a funny soul too. Like she's just,
Yeah.
I mean, she, she was talking to me, and all of a sudden you were wandering off. I, okay,
Yep, this is
because
how
I know what that is, so I'm fine with that.
yeah.
I
Oh,
thought it was
love
kind of funny.
I
So,
love that.
but yeah, it was a very interesting conference. There were lots of interesting people who also had booths, and different products. They had some new PECs, PECs,
Oh,
programs, and all kinds of different interesting things that they had to contribute. I did enjoy it very much.
that's
So,
wonderful.
yeah,
Love a
yeah.
good conference. Oh, I love that. What's in store in the future? Anything you're going to be working on or going to be keep going to conferences and podcasts?
There's nothing. Yeah, I've got another podcast. This one that'll be coming out in July. I've done
Hmm.
already. Then there's I've already done Autism Live. You probably
Oh,
know
right.
Shannon. She's an awesome lady.
Is that how we
Uh,
connected? I wonder. I
how's
think
that?
it was actually just through Shannon. Shannon and I are good friends.
Okay. So
Oh,
So
that's
I did that did podcast. It came out during April, during Autism Month.
yeah,
In fact, I got to be a couple of days before Temple Grandin, and I thought,
yeah.
"Ooh, I got celebrity status."
I think I reached out to you after
Uh,
that. I think it is. Oh,
so,
that's great.
that that's on there if anybody wants to go watch it.
Mm, great.
It's an interesting little talk we had, because we decided that she calls herself a pony, right? A parent of a neurodivergent individual, right?
Yeah.
So I said, I guess I'm a grand pony.
Oh,
So,
I love that. Oh, that's great. Oh, and how is it being a grandma and everything? Is it wonderful?
oh yeah, oh absolutely, absolutely. It really is funny. It's what people say about that. You have all the benefits, like all the fun stuff, and and once there's some work to do or cleaning up after everybody, are all like, well, bye.
Oh,
So
that's
I get all
great.
the fun, and I live here in Canada where I live. I'm like steps to a beach, a really nice beach. And
Oh,
during the summer, they have an arcade and all kinds of. So the kids come up and hang out with Nana. Like Nana's got a cool house,
I'll come up
So,
see.
so, so that's a fun thing, and they're relaxed when they're here with me
Mm.
because I totally accept them the way they are.
Oh,
They both have their little peculiarities too, and I'm like, yeah, okay, um, whatever. Like my granddaughter, they're both 15 now, and my granddaughter, she she's the quiet one, who and very sort of careful about what she says and when she says it.
mhm.
And my grandson is the chatty one. He's
Mhm.
it's really interesting. So no,
Neat.
I don't have anything immediate coming up, though. I do have one more podcast to do with Keegan. Can't remember his name now because I booked this one a long time ago, and he can't do it till August. So I gotta
Oh, yeah.
remember what I'm doing. So, yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. It's so nice to chat with you and get to know you more. What is one message you hope people read the book might get from it?
Mainly that if there's somebody who doesn't have a lot of contact with autistic children or adults, to be if they when they see it, they'll recognize it easier and maybe feel a little more comfortable with it. And if they see somebody displaying a certain type of behavior, they'll go, "Oh, I know what that is," and just be a little more accepting of that situation. That was one of the messages I hope that type of person who's reading it who doesn't really know much about autism. And then for anybody who does, it's some sort of a little history for them as to how we got to where we're at, and the ones who are working in the field and working in the agencies and social workers and all of them, well, the little takeaway that, hey, you're appreciated. What you do is important, really important. And that as parents, like anything you can do to help your children's teachers and workers, do whatever you can. Offer yourself. Say, listen, is there anything I can do, to help you? And just telling them. So just saying, listen, I'm I'm so glad you're there part of the day. To makes my day easier, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
For sure. So
Uh,
that's sort of what had in mind as I was writing it.
yeah.
Mm.
Do you have a website we can go to find the book?
Yes, it's called My Guided Pen. So www My Guided Pen. And
Let's see if I
so
spell
there's a bit about the book, and you can order it from there. It's available on Amazon Canada as well as regular Amazon, Barnes and Noble in the States, Indigo Chapters in Canada. So
And
this
is it .com? I didn't even think about that. I don't know if Canadian websites have any other, different.
sometimes they well, like Amazon is .ca.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought it
And
was a little bit
for the
different. Yeah,
Canadian side of things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Well, that's wonderful to know for people. And the title of the book is The Alien Savant.
Yep.
Oops,
Yep.
misread that. Yeah, show us
Yep.
that real quick.
There we
And
go.
maybe show us some of the
And that's one
pictures if
of
you
Michael's
could.
later drawings on the front here. So there's all his
So,
pictures and illustrations are all through here, all sorts of ones that he did,
oh, I
and
love,
describing what he was trying to describe to us. Because that's how, as I said, that's how he used to communicate, because he was nonverbal.
yeah.
They did try to teach him to talk because, again, deaf children were not allowed to do sign language
Oh,
when
I was
no,
gonna ask you
no,
about sign
it
language, but
was,
he couldn't even do sign
it
language.
wasn't permitted. They wanted all the deaf community to learn to speak. And again, it was forced. And you can't do that,
Oh,
so when sign language was finally introduced in the 70s and allowed, um, they started to teach him to do some sign language. Now the problem with Michael, this is where the autism got in the way. He wouldn't maintain eye contact because he didn't like it. Right? So he would do real simple signs that were a concrete meaning, that was something that you could visually show him. This is the sign for milk, or this is the
yeah.
sign for dog. So he learned those ones, but he couldn't sign a conversation.
Yeah.
So he could just, and so he would do, use signs and his own gestures, his own made up signs, and then his drawings. If he wanted something from us, he would usually bring it to us as a drawing, and he would draw in like a cartoon fashion where each little square would, and he would show you, this is how it's going to start, and this is what I want it to end up. And or he would cut pictures out of magazines. If he wanted a particular thing,
Love
he would
that.
show it to you. He would bring you a picture and say, "This is I want this," and he would tell you he wants money. I want money.
Yep, I
Figure
agree.
that out real quick.
Love.
But he was able to, because Dad encouraged it for him to go out as when he was older, when he was old enough to go out with his own money and go out and buy the things he wanted to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got in trouble though at one of our dollar stores. He loved the dollar store because he loved gadgets and all the, there's so many neat things to look at.
Yeah.
But he had this horrible habit of rearranging all their shelves. And because he had to have everything, each thing had to be straight, facing the right way, all fold up. So and they asked him one day to leave, and he wouldn't leave. So they had to call the police to,
Oh,
and it was kind of sad because the policeman realized that something was wrong with Michael, so he followed him home, and that's when he said, told my sisters, hey, he can't go back in there because he won't behave himself because they were like, okay. He
yeah.
can't, so.
And what was he hurting? Come on, let him do it. Pay him.
Well, you know
Heaven.
what? Apparently, we found out afterwards that a couple of the employees had complained to the manager of the store. About him arranging the shelves, and he says, "What? You're mad at him because he's doing your job?" Really?
Yeah. Just
But this is just it. You could
yeah.
take, obviously, that's a great talent. If you do want your shelf stocked, and you can make him understand that's what you want. Hey, he's happy for hours doing that.
Absolutely.
So,
Oh my goodness.
but this is
Wow.
what I mean about, it's just about being accepting instead of fighting against it, because you're not going to win. Because a lot of the time they can't help it. They can't stop themselves. It's
Yeah.
and okay, so make it work for you.
Yep.
Or make sure that they know there's a certain time they're allowed to do that, and certain time they're not. So.
Oh my gosh. It is so true too.
Oh yeah.
Boy, days of our lives. Oh
Uh,
heaven. It's been so great to catch up with you, Janet. And I'm so thankful that you worked on this project and put it forth to the community and, allowed us all to kind of take a glimpse of those things and what an important also the history. I think that's really important part that probably a lot of books don't look at, that don't shine a light on and highlight that part so that we can really see the contrast of how far we've come and also know how much work needs to be done all around the world in some of these other places where the work is just beginning. So
yeah, true.
yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I hope that we can stay in touch.
I'm sure we will, Sarah. You can always email me with anything interesting you think I need to know.
Good. Same here. I appreciate it. I really will. Yeah, thank you so much. This has been a great conversation and I really look forward to staying in touch.
Okay, dear.